Hello, everyone. Happy holidays and welcome to Royal Black and Elite. Now, if you celebrate the holidays or if you don't, I think you'll find this story really interesting because it's about Kwanzaa. I wanted to lecture about this because I heard about this a while ago. Myself, I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. Many black people here in America don't, but I'd like to give you a little bit of history about it and, more importantly, the history of its founder. Let's talk about it because there's a lot of controversy around the holiday, around the founder, and tell me down below, do you celebrate Kwanzaa? Now, Kwanzaa happens between December 26th and January the 1st, and many black people actually do celebrate it. It's a cultural holiday, and it's really rooted in African heritage. Now, it was founded in 1966 by Mulani Karinga, and we'll talk a little bit about him and how all his background is very questionable. But it was really founded for black people to really reconnect to the African culture. And that was a big deal back in the 60s. It was Black Power movement. People were wearing dashikis. My mama used to wear dashikis back then. So it was a real big movement during that time period. And when it was founded by Karanga, it really struck a nerve with the black people. And it has 7 principles: unity, self determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. So that's really what it was founded on. So tell me down below, do you celebrate Kwanzaa? Do you go to any of the cultural Kwanzaa fests? Well, here comes the controversy. So let's talk about the man who founded. His name is Mulani Karinga, and he was born Ronald McKinley Everett on July the 14th, 1941, in Parsonsburg, Maryland. But he studied, he did all his academic work in Los Angeles. Now, as you know, back then, people changed their names. Muhammad Ali was Cassius Clay. So, they changed their names because the Black Power movement was a real big thing back then. So that's what he did. He moved to LA and he founded this organization called US. It stood for United Slaves in 1965. And this really became the bedrock of where Kwanzaa principles came from, these 7 principles. And so he founded the organization, and it was really about Black power, and it was really about really Black pride. However, they were competing against the Black Panthers, and they did not get along at all. And during that time period, the government evidently had something called Black Intel Pro, Crow and Pro, and they were planting letters between the US organization and the Black Panther organization and making them fight. And it was a big incident in 1969 where the Blickies got pulled out, and it was a battle, and Black Panthers were unalived during that confrontation. So it was on and popping between us and the Black Panthers. And of course the government dropping Molotov, cocktails in between all of it to keep them fighting each other. Now, did you know all of this was around Kwanzaa? See, they hide the story. I'm so glad that you tuned in today because you'll learn about the Royal Black and Elite here on this channel and about our culture. And I can't tell you all, I thank you all so much. Royalers, I love you for tuning in. You all are the absolute best. So this is all what's happening in LA at that time. Well, after the Watts riot, this is when he founded the Kwanzaa celebration. And black people really were feeling it. But like I said, they were going back and forth with the Black Panthers. So you had people who were staunchly on the side of the Black Panthers, and then those who were staunchly on the side of us, the United Slaves. However, the government was on their side, for their own selves, and they wanted both of the organization gone because, of course, they wanted to keep black people subjected. And so that's what they wanted to do. And they were trying to use both of these organizations against each other. So as you can tell, and as you probably know, there was a lot of distrust going on. And people were like, you're, wearing a wire and you're working for the government. So it was a lot of distrust. And because of this is when old Ronald got into trouble. You see, Ronald felt like there were 2 ladies in his organization who was, as the people used to say back in the day, dropping a dime on them. So he felt like they were telling on him. So their names were Deborah Jones and Gail Davis. So what he did to these ladies, allegedly, and he was convicted for it. He went to jail for it. So I'm not even going to say allegedly. This is public record. This is what these ladies said. Now, Deborah Jones, she was known as an African queen. She said, along with Gail Davis, and they testified this in court, that they were whipped with an electrical cord. Oh, by the way, this is trigger warnings. I'm going to tell you what the women said. I'm going to read exactly what they had, as much as I can get away with on YouTube. This is not for kids. So they said that they were beaten with these electrical cords with a baton, a karate baton at that, and they were ordered to take off all of their clothes. She also testified that hot soldering iron was placed in Miss Davis's mouth and placed against her face. And then even one of her big toes got tightened in a vice grip. They was even messing with her big toes, you all. So this was a mess. Now, Karanga, he was the head of the US organization at that time. And they said he personally put detergent in their mouth and washed it out with water. And they got hit upside the head with toasters. Don't ask me why. So they said this was done to them, and Karanga was sentenced. Now, he was sentenced for 1 to 10 years, but he only served 4 years. He said that it was a political hit job, that these ladies were not telling the truth, but there was, of course, evidence. And even some of his own family members came out and testified against him. And they said it was because he was using substances. As we know, back in the day, the substances were quite heavy back then. Now, many people in the black community do not defend Karanga. They say, but, he was wrong for that. But they separate the values of Kwanzaa from its founder. My question is, can you separate these values out by a man who did not live by these values, especially him putting his hands on women? Unity, faith, creativity, purpose. What purpose do you have of washing a grown woman's mouth out with soap? So that's why Kwanzaa in the black community, some people feel one way about it. Some people feel another way about it. Tell me down below, how do you feel about it? Do you light the candles on Kwanzaa? Do you celebrate Kwanzaa? Do you feel it's important to the black community here in America? Because even the Africans don't really celebrate it. So why are we celebrating? Especially after we found out about this man. Thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. I want to leave you with, by the way, Ronald, Mr. Karanga, it is said allegedly he was on the payroll of the United States government. So he was a snitch as well. Honey, Ronald had a lot going on. I just do not celebrate Kwanzaa. Y'all tell me down below if you do. Lastly, he is the chair of African Studies at the California State University in Long Beach. He served 4 years, and after he got out, he was able to continue to live his life, do lectures across the country, and he is now a chair of this California school. What do y'all think about that? Do you think he should be teaching anybody? Because he never ever took responsibility. He keeps saying today that he didn't do these things, even though the women said that he did. So that is the history of Kwanzaa. Did you know it? I want to thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. As always, my lessons are always for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday who do celebrate it, and I want to thank you for supporting our channel. So I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Now, hit like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed, and definitely check down below for some other great videos.